Okay, testing, using Zine screen live. Hopefully this runs smooth. Currently was having issues with the YouTube gaming app. In especially on my device I currently have, you think it would run pretty swell. But that is okay, we're gonna give this a try. Please do let me know in the comments down below if everything went smoothly. And again, thank you to all the new recent subscribers. Still continuing to message many of you back. Didn't realize for the time I was gone there was tons of you who actually subscribed. You guys, thank you so much for being part of this channel. And in return, as always, what I do, I always subscribe back. Even if you don't have a channel, hey, you don't need to have a channel to have some love and support back. Today we're doing a quick earthquake update. Almost wasn't gonna do one, but I made a time to go ahead, sit, and make sure you guys get the updates. As many of you already do know, Hawaii, from yesterday that I know of, there was a total of 17 going on 18 fissures, and it doesn't look pretty. I was just recently looking at a video before I came up and started doing this stream for you on the earthquakes. And after I'm done, I'm going to continue and check it out. But you can't compare the eruption in 1925 and then compare it to the eruption today. These are two completely eruptions and certainly uncomparable. Yes, 1925 was devastating, but also this one, just like I even pretty much figured how it would plan out. And the way it seems and how it's going so far is, I don't know, you guys, might be a possibility that whole island might end up being evacuated for good. Cross my fingers, send my love out to everybody out there on the island, and hope everybody is staying safe. Not a great situation whatsoever. So let's get into this quick update, and I gotta get back finishing doing what I was doing on some UFO news and some other stuff. I'm putting together some new footage for all of you, and currently revamping eSearchy.com, my website, and also my merchandise on all my apparel and some other cool product. So again, any questions, please hit me up in the comments down below. And again, don't forget, if you guys ever want a shout out, please don't hesitate to ask. I'd gladly would love to do so. We are already, as you see, on the 14th of May. This month is already flying by pretty well quick. Let's hop into satellite view. Now, before we hit to the West Coast and as well Alaska, we'll talk about that too for the coming of the following week. Surprisingly, from the last video update on your earthquakes, yet no 6.0 magnitude. I'm very, very surprised. Could this be because maybe a switcheroo? Who knows? Let me fix my brightness. My device is low. Apologize about that. Australia, before we move further, let's take a look at this one real quick. Australia just got hit, and this is actually a quake that I remember from last year, because it struck in the same zone, and it was a 4.0 magnitude, if those of you remember that quake. This was very shallow, 10.0 kilometers deep at a 2.0. Nothing major, but still Australia kind of getting a little something something. Coming up over here to Fiji, take a look over here, as you got a 4.5, very close to a 5.0, 526.07 kilometers in depth, folks. And it is not done there. Take a look over here, and got another 4.6. This is wired within Solomon Islands. It's only 87 kilometers south-southeast of Lata. It's a 4.6 at 71.4 kilometers in depth. Your next earthquake update, I will be changing the kilometers into miles, and that way we get exact. Some people have actually sent comments in requests, could I please do the miles instead of kilometers? That's perfectly fine. It even works out better for me. Not the best when it comes to converting kilometers into miles. Hey, it's all good though. Continuing up towards into Japan. Start off with the Philippines. Take a look up over here also. You have a 4.8, and more likely I'll go ahead and set that on the scale of a 5.0. As you already know, those of you who are new, and if you do not yet know, usually when these are already updated and posted, as you see here, When the magnitude first strikes, it seems that usually it'll drop a from a 4.9 or a 5.0 to a 4.8 to a 4.7. It's always that way. Why, I don't know. But always give or take a little bit of that extra leap on those digits. Now, coming over here, here's one concern 5.0. This is only 410 kilometers deep and is fairly well deep. Is there going to be more to come? In the next couple of days, do keep your watch out for that whole region just of Japan itself for multiple, at least I'm going to say 3 for the week, between 4.3 and possibly max at a 4.9. Hopefully we don't see nothing bigger than the 5.0 earthquakes. Now, when I did mention about the 6.0 magnitude striking, which was anywhere from Indonesia going up to Fiji, around that little loop, before it starts going downstream, following that fault all the way through up towards New Zealand, well, the 6.0 did not strike, but it doesn't mean that it could not happen. Why I say that? Because with all the changes going on, there's tons of volcanic activity. Also, as you guys notice, even Yellowstone, nothing much coming out of that. Right now, all the focus is on Hawaii, and it seems like a freaking apocalypse. It's, if nobody's waking up and realizing where we're at in this stage, I don't think it can be woken up. There's a lot of people who are still asleep on this, and there's just not enough people woken to really come together, because I tell you what, Mother Earth is sick. And there's certainly, with the route she's headed, she is not going to get any better. And for this one, you hear everybody talk about, I'll keep this short, but anyways, you hear everyone talk about how, well, if this planet freaking blew up with dinosaurs and it had all this happened to it, well, then it'll rebuild itself. Well, maybe back then it did. And also, how can you go back so many hundreds of thousands of years? Because in reality, I don't think anybody really can actually, as a fact, go back those many years. But give or take gives everyone an idea. But still, they say that, but this time, think of Fukushima, all the nuclear testing. I even have a video on my channel if you guys want to go look for that. And I actually explained to you from the 60s, actually starting from the 50s up through the 60s, and as latest as 2007, all the nuclear tests done total. It'd blow your mind away. You might want to go check that video out. Now, this quake is one of the concerns. This was a 5.8 magnitude right within South Sandwich Islands region. Kind of a little bit new, just because the reason I say this, haven't really seen hardly any mini quakes through here, but when they do hit, they certainly are no less than a 5.5, and they're always between there and all the way up to as high as a 6.6, and we've seen that a couple times from 2016 and into 2017. Now, despite for all this other whole part of these areas, you'd have another one. And this is a good quake, again, 5.8. This one here, super shallow and not too far away from where the first quake had struck, as you can see there. 10 kilometers in deep, 5.8 magnitude. Go ahead and set this at a 5.9. There's no doubt, and more likely, I'll probably say about 80% chance, could have been a possibility that it did hit originally with a 6.0. And you could tell already as you look, there is definitely the domino effect. What I mean by the domino effect is that it's sending its constant shock wave. There's nowhere for this wave at a magnitude of strength to stop, especially around the world's main plate zone. The Ring of Fire is what they call. Everybody already knows between Fiji and also as far as going towards up into the Philippines, that whole area from one end to the other end, it is the weakest and unstable plate zone compared to many of these others throughout the rest of this globe. I've mentioned this tons of times. Now, recently, California. Let's get into the West Coast before we head up into Hawaii. And we'll stop over here in Mexico, take a look, and then also we'll come back over here and take a look at South America. Coming into the West Coast, this was the first thing that also caught my attention. Now, recently, those of you who do know, California, right on the San Andreas fault, which you don't really see very often, got struck with a good size 3 magnitude quake recently. And it seems that it's definitely picking up, as you could clearly tell. Now, these are all the most recent latest quakes. No more than 24 hours and no less. Everything you see here in the green, more likely these are within the 2.22s, but take a look as you start getting into the Cascadia fault zone. This quake, this could tick something up. This is super shallow at a 3.1 magnitude. Also, there have heard some stuff going around about some volcanic activity between California and going along Oregon. So that I'll be looking into, and I'll probably be doing an update for you tomorrow, you guys. So despite that quake falling on the other end, mind you, look at both ends here and you can see both hitting above a 3 magnitude. Both at a 10 kilometers of depth, and this was just only 251 kilometers just west of Ferndale, California, with a 3.1 and again 10 kilometers. Now, could this trigger a possibility for tomorrow's? Could we see another 3 within this whole Cascadia fault zone? Highly possible. I'll put this one at a 80% chance of another 3 to a 3.5 to definitely strike within the next couple of days within this area zone. Now, as far as California's coastline and inland itself throughout, really do not see anything much going on. Now, if there were signs of a big quake to come, usually you start to see a lot of 3 and near 4 magnitudes. And it seems like when California lately with their, was it 4.0, and people said it felt like a 5.5, like it struck and it hit pretty well hard, as it was felt even wider areas instead of where it originally had struck. So very interesting. Nothing major or no major alerts for this week that I could definitely mention and give you guys a heads up details of any possibilities for 4 or 3.8 magnitudes to strike anytime this week. Though continue to see many 2 and 2.5s and up to 2.9 magnitudes, and including what I was just mentioning within the Cascadia fault of the next couple of days, a possibility of that 3 and up to a 3.5 anywhere around that zone. Now, coming over here, take a look at this one. Western Montana struck with a 3.5 magnitude also, and of course, basically the home of Yellowstone. 13.0 kilometers of depth, and it seems like that was the only earthquake that had backed that up again. Let me correct though. And there's some more, following by 3.7, 13 kilometers in depth. And also, here is another one at 3.5, 8 kilometers in depth. And we just saw that one trying to sneak away from us right here. And this one is at a 3.1, 10 kilometers. So there's definitely some movement, definitely pressure going on. And recently hearing stories of now animal die-offs. So what the heck is going on? Very chilling, you guys. Start paying attention, everybody. Not kidding. Continuing up, nothing in Oregon, nothing in Canada, surprisingly. But when you get up in towards Alaska, Alaska's got multiple 1+ magnitude earthquakes. They just don't stop. And I think a lot of it has to do ever since Hawaii had lit up with the first volcano. And like I mentioned, you guys, the way the path is headed. And there's a lot that the people on the island, of course, sadly, they're really not being told everything, though they should be. You know, this is nothing to mess around with. And like I mentioned, Hawaii, well, all of Hawaii Islands, they're just underneath pure molten lava. And these fissures are continuing to open up. I believe it was into the 18th fissure, if I'm not mistaken, and possibility a 19th. I mean, it's just making a straight beeline. And once if it makes a continuous beeline all the way to the other side, you guys really got to realize that it's gonna be beyond than what people are thinking. So I'm crossing my fingers, and I hope, really hope, it does not get worse. Very spooky.